Okay.
and he's gonna be back home soon. So
Let's get into this.
let's get into it, girl. Let's just do it. So it's gonna be like rapid fire, kind of like how um my other video was.
Okay.
Um, so okay, I am a firm believer of person to person communication. In other words, word of mouth. They say,
Mhm.
despite the internet, still word of mouth is the quickest way to get communication from one person to the next. And odds are the values and beliefs that you have are because somebody else told you.
Mhm.
So we are both red pillars. We talked a little bit about our stories with each other. We're gonna share them here. But who is the most responsible in helping you see things the way you do now, at least politically?
Well, I mean, I gotta put God in there because that's how I started. Because I'm like,
Okay,
I can't
okay,
be believing what somebody telling me about this group of people and police officers. Like it was like good versus evil to me. And then I
okay,
started. Then Kanye West said, "I love the way Candace Owens think." Literally, that's how it happened for me. I was already kind of seeing things differently and living my own reality, and
right.
not about what the TV was saying. And then I'm on Twitter, and everybody like, "What is Kanye West talking about?" And then I'm like, "Who is Candace Owens?"
Like, who's that?
And after that, it's been history. I'm like, okay, I agree with this. I believe that. Oh, I've been lied to. I'm not a victim. I can do whatever. It was just, that's kind of how it happened for me. So
That's
Candace, I
solid.
guess
That's
Kanye
solid.
West, you can give him the credit. God and Kanye
God and
West.
Kanye West. I mean,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, I think he really did open a lot of eyes on certain ends, because mine was a little bit different. Um it was also Candace, but it was through Dave Rubin and
Okay.
the Rubin Report, and I
Yeah.
don't know how he ended up on my feed, but it was his demeanor that really got my attention, I think, because I just wasn't a YouTube watcher. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I had a lot of time on my hands, so I just kind of was strolling through my feed, and he popped up. And I think it was the fact that he was talking to an African American woman. I was like, I just don't usually see this, like in the
Mm-hmm.
commentaries. I don't usually see a lot of people interviewing young African American females. I was like, what is this about? And
Yeah.
then she was talking about red pill black, and he's like, your story's gone viral, and you've really woken up the African American man. I'm like, African American, what are we waking up about? I was just green as the
Yeah.
Irish clover. Okay, I was like, what are they talking about? And she was introducing these concepts to me that honestly I didn't even think were an issue. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think the issues she was bringing up were a problem. Now, granted, this is coming from someone who literally lives in a city where across the train tracks, the races are different. Okay. If you want to talk about race, you can literally hear say across the train tracks, that is where you will find X. In this case, that is where you will find the white people. And if you are on that side, you will tell your friends and family across the train tracks, that is where you will find the black people. This is a very segregated area, and it's just because we've held on to a lot of really ancient crap.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I, living here, still didn't believe there was a race problem. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm really like, what is she talking? Why is she just pounding on there's no such thing as racism in this country? I'm like, no one's crying about race. And then I backtracked on what the media was actually hounding Trump about. And it really was. They kept pulling this race card. And every single time the media wanted to help blacks feel like there was something that they were fighting on our behalf for, it was always
Mhm.
racism. It wasn't just, oh, economic status. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't just, oh, poor schools and certain demographics. No, it was just flat out, well, blacks won't be able to do X, Y, Z because of their skin color. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this hasn't gone away. And she just had a whole other, way of looking at things. And I was very impressed. And I was just really impressed by her demeanor. And I stepped into a whole new world. So I guess that's kind of how I would say I learned about.
So you already kind of on the conservative side
I
then.
was already conservative, but I didn't realize just how dire the situation was for our community, namely the Black community. I didn't realize just how vulnerable we are by not really understanding how our political system works and how sometimes, it's caused our victimization. I won't even say sometimes, I always say a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah, I agree.
It's just because we're not following on the patterns. We don't want to plug in. And I just was a creature of habit. I just felt like, you just wash, rinse, repeat. Like, if it's working, it's because it works. And if it's not working, you need to stop doing that and do something else. It really had nothing to do with class, money, race, language, color, creed, or anything. But when it boils down to what we're facing right now in our nation as a minority,
it's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, it's almost like there is this kind of construct to keep us as a minority that's constantly trying to get ahead. And you're like, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
So, but that kind of goes into one of my other questions for you. I wanted to know, what do you think, in your opinion, the Black community is most guilty of?
Oh, that's a good question.
Themselves back, in terms of holding themselves back, because now we're all pilled and we're like, okay, we're not being held back. There's a horrible narrative telling us that we're victims and we're not. But there are some things we need to work on. So, like, what do you think we seriously need to work on as African Americans?
Ooh, girl, they're gonna come after me with this answer.
Are they gonna come after us? We'll edit this out.
Yeah, no, you know how I told you in the message. I ain't never scared.
Yeah, girl, you be bringing fire. So I'm like, okay, now I don't know if I should be a little nervous, because if you're finna bring it home, I probably should be a little nervous. Legit.
Well, let me see how to answer this. I think, because I think it's a lot of successful Black Americans that's doing good, that's not victims, that's living in, they doing good. But the biggest problem is I'm gonna say the inner city problem is, we have the order of home, and the order of God has left. We don't have the morality. We are the most conservative people.
We really
but now
are.
we become like entitled victims. But yeah, when you look at the choices you're making, they're not
conducive to progress.
Narrative. Yeah, it's like you say, this is the problem over here. But what are you doing, like you were saying earlier, to change it yourself?
To change it,
I think accountability. That's the thing.
Accountability.
No accountability.
I think that you hit it spot on. I would agree. It's interesting that you're saying how, we have the tools, we're just not making use of them.
Right.
And it's because of that brainwashing, that narrative. I can't start my own radio station. Well, why not?
Yeah.
I think I forgot his name. Jesse Peterson. I think his name is Jesse.
Okay.
Peterson.
Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like his own station. He takes calls from 9 a.m. to 12 our time, and it's amazing, and he's an African American, just doing what he does best, talking about the truth and letting other people talk. He's doing the same thing that Sean Hannity does. It's like,
yeah,
why are you telling us that we should be second guessing ourselves because of our race?
Color.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because of your color, your physical makeup.
And it's just this horrible, vicious cycle that just keeps going again and again, every generation. We really don't get ahead. It's like that crab mentality. We keep pulling each other down because we just feel like, well, this is the way things are and we can't change it. And that's not true.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think we do really have our work a little bit cut out for us. And it's honestly, it's just red pilling. You know what I mean? It's literally just red pilling. Like, it's literally just helping people understand.
It's just talking to people. It's not like, I hear a lot of people saying there's like, the excuses, they don't like Black conservatives, right? What are you doing to fix it? Honey,
right.
Talking about it. That's what helped me. So if it worked for me, then that's the point. You have the ability to go and change things for yourself once the information is given. That's the solution. And I can help guide you. Okay, look this person up. Go read this and read that. But that's the solution. It's nothing magical.
Yeah, it really is.
It's information. Knowledge is power. Like, we perish because of lack of knowledge, and then you can be successful and prosper because of knowledge. It's up to you to decide.
Ooh, we got our work cut out for us. Like, legit.
But you know what? It took 50 years. It took a while, some years for, when LBJ said what he said. That was kind of the start of the big,
turnaround,
destruction of the family. But then, now that's been 50 years. So that's just like it took time to get into it. It's going to take time for us to get better.
To get out.
But I don't know, just since I feel like, I don't know. I'm hopeful, but it's so deep.
Girl,
the rabbit hole so deep.
I know. I'm worried too. I'm really concerned about the breadth of America disappearing. Like, I don't know if you follow Tim Cass, but he was saying how the teenagers of like his time, he's 30 now, the teenagers of his time were rebelling against the system. They were saying, oh, we're liberated, we have our own thought, we're trying to be breaking away from these constructs, the global or the government systems that are supposed to work for us. We're not going to go to college, and we're free thinkers, and we're going to make our own money our own way and be individuals. And now the teenagers are embracing ideas like socialism. Oh, we are a construct of the society, and we need to be formed and taken care of by this big government that has everything that we need. And they're not challenging the system anymore. They're proclaiming dependency to the system is the best way to move forward. And he was like, how weird is that? Like, our teens are promoting a system that we found as toxic just 10-15 years ago.
That's amazing.
Who would have thought, and Trump is now talking about us being free thinkers, being liberated. That's what this country was founded on, liberty. That
freedom.
I can think my own thoughts. Yeah, like I shouldn't be restricted to 10 books, in the school system, and that's it. And they call that, education. No, education is teaching you how to think, not what to think. And we won't even embrace that ideal if we don't realize just how suffocated we are, just how starved of truth that we really are starved of. And I really think that breadth of America is just like, it intimidates people. People don't want to be accountable. People don't want to have autonomy. People don't want to start their own country.
It's difficult. That's capitalism. That's what America was founded upon.
Yeah.
We had people had respect for godly order. People was getting married. They had their own businesses. You raise your kids up to do the same thing. Like my mom had 15 uncles and aunts and uncles on my mother's side.
Oh my glory.
They all were, they never got in trouble.
That's
they were
powerful.
Raised, I'm saying? Moral. My grandparents were still married until they died. Like,
right.
We got to get back to that,
Yeah.
And hard work.
Strength. It's strong.
I don't follow Tim Cash yet. I just started following him, by the way. Everybody keep telling me, go look up Tim Pool. So I'm gonna get on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's solid, and he's coming our way. He started out liberal, but he's honest. I think that's what a lot of people like about him. He's just like, I'm neutral. Everything, I'm neutral, and I'm gonna work my way to a side based on facts and things that make sense.
That's how it should be.
It's cool to watch him do that, and he does come on the right a lot of times, and now he's pushing for Trump, so it is what it is.
That's good, and he can influence a lot of these millennials and liberals. I'm be specific, more people that look like him. He can help them. I don't like to always say identity politics, but unfortunately, we have to sometimes a person to listen to me more so because I'm black than they would. You know how it is, because it's just tension is so high. So you have to sometimes separate things.
See it in your own kind.
Right. So sometimes I make stuff specifically, I say black because that's for a reason. Not to isolate, not to separate somebody else from, but sometimes you got to speak directly to,
Yeah. And I think that's a good point too. Like, America didn't realize a dynamic that I think we are facing now that was inevitable. We are a melting pot of countries and cultures.
Right.
Okay. And every culture and country and creed has their own way of doing things.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you literally try to make a country out of everybody else in their own ways of doing things, okay, you have a very, very huge problem on your hands. And it did not start that way. Okay. It started off through a system of colonialism, whether we like it or not. And majority, of course, was Caucasians. But I would argue that the integration of other cultures was fairly seamless because everybody came here and they wanted to work. Everybody literally came eager about doing the same thing. And then now we're really hungry for our own identity again. And we're cutting each part of the country off saying, okay, well, we're the Black community, we're the white community, we're the Latino community, and we're the LGBT community, and we're the, communist community, and it's all these different communities just so that we can have a title. And it's strange at how now 100 years later we're having a harder time to merge ideas than we did eons ago when we really were from other countries and other lands trying to figure it all out.
It's like we're not free, like we still trying to figure out that we free. Like we're in the freest world, like not just Black, I guess not Black people in general, because everybody have to be identified. Before they were saying we don't want to be we don't need to be identified, we just need to be Americans, and I think that's true. But I think we got to get back to the fabric of how the country was, just the founding concepts of America. We got to get back to those things. But I think too, we've allowed too many people to come here that don't, you know what I mean? I think we have it's too free in the sense of everybody can come here, and then they don't have respect for America.
They're not
you got certain things that's, I don't mind you coming if you love the country, you want to come, and I don't want to use assimilate, but you know what I'm saying?
No,
but you have respect for our culture.
In terms of what is going to help us sustain ourselves. I mean,
right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Like I was saying, they all came to work before. It ain't like that now. They came here for a check sometimes.
Right.
I don't say it, but it's true. And that's a whole different mindset. You're not coming here to literally help the country grow. You're coming here to escape your country, which I understand.
Right.
But when you don't want to embrace what actually built this country and will keep it here,
that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
A huge problem. Yeah.
It's going to change. We are going to change. We will not be the country that you fled to. It's going to be a different country.
Yes, ma'am. And you could go to California and see that just
my goodness.
So blatantly.
Girl, when you get off of this call, you need to go watch PragerU's new video on California. Oh my goodness. This young man breaks it all down. And he was saying at how people in California are leaving in droves. They're
one of them. I was just there.
Girl, you too.
Yeah,
you were in Cali?
Louisiana girl, but I was in Cali for 6 years. Yep.
I didn't even know this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love it though. It's cool, but it's a beautiful disaster.
You gonna have to talk about this, please.
That's gonna be a whole other video.
That's gonna be a whole other video.
Like you were saying with the Hispanics, the border right there. So you get a lot of illegals, and they working jobs that a lot of the inner city kids need. And when you go to the Black communities, right, it's all infested with illegals making money. They're using capitalism, but it's not for the city. You know what I mean? It's for the economy. It's for them.
Right.
And it's just so many people. It's just overly packed. You got people that get sick in those sanctuary states that don't follow the law. I'm a citizen. I go to the doctor. I gotta have insurance. They have free care. We pay millions of dollars for that in these sanctuary states.
That's bizarre. It's just weird. I mean, what other country does that?
That's why we but everybody said, if you notice, all the presidents said, we gonna secure the border. We gonna secure the border. We gonna secure the border. Then you get President Trump to do it. Now he's a racist. Right. Do y'all pay attention to anything? Obama said the same stuff he's saying. He's just doing it.
He's actually doing it. Now he's a problem.
Yeah.
That's
we gotta wake up.
Mm-hmm. No, but that's so true. And like, I think you bring up another point. It's like, we are literally demonized, or at least we were before Trump. We were demonized for being patriotic. Like, what country does that?
You love your country. You're a white supremacist.
You'll be thrown out of North Korea, of China, of Russia if you say one thing against Mother Russia, the Communist Chinese Party, okay, the flawless North Korea, if you say one thing against the country, you will be thrown out. In this country, you'll be thrown out if you say anything in favor of the country. That is sick.
That's hate speech.
Yeah, it's hate speech if you fly your flag. That's hate speech. Take it down.
Blue Lives Matter flag.
Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Did you see that video
I did with the kids? The little high school kids got suspended for that. They got
suspended yes. Oh my goodness.
Now I'm not gonna. They should have listened to the superiors, but still, that was the punishment. Come on,
the superiors were crazy. Yeah, they do need that.
Yeah, exactly. Don't just say okay, y'all don't do that. Why they get suspended? But they, they reversed it. But still, that's crazy.
No, but I've heard other things like textbooks saying that Trump is iconic of fascism. Like textbooks are saying this. Like, don't let your children read this. You know that these need to be confronted. These situations need to be confronted, and the schools are mantras of this ideology that America's gone south, and that could not have been further from the truth. America does not go south because it's interested in her own future, in her own continuation.
So I'm in that sense, I'm a black nationalist because I love my country. Yeah, I said it.
Me too.
That's not great. So if Trump want to be a nationalist, he can be.
We are too, okay?
Right, too. I love my country and I want the fabric of it to be sustained,
right?
Not changed, not tainted. So but you know what I just did a video too on. It's one of my followers sent me a book. It was a children's book saying Republicans are monsters, and it had the little like weird little drawing of a monster, and it's supposed to be like an introduction for your kids to teach them about Republicans, and it's for Republican parents.
And it's a children's book?
Yes.
On how bad Republicans are?
It's talking against anti-God, anti-nuclear family, all those type of concepts.
That makes me want to throw up.
But why we can't, we gotta get some conservative voices I don't know why the power structure is so crazy when it comes to the elites.
Girl.
Why they get so far left? Where are the people that's conservative? We have no power. Like, if I want to
listen, the land of the brave and the free has become, okay, the land of the snowflakes, the silent majority, and the censored. Okay, we're no longer allowed to be ourselves. The people who are running things crumble if you challenge their position.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who really do take care of us, like the people who grow our food, if they come out and talk, they will be silenced.
Yep, 100%. The mob mentality, mob rules. If not,
we are literally spun things on their head. We are literally standing on our hands right now, and trying to walk. Everything is upside.
It's so true.
Upside down. If I cannot fly an American flag in my yard.
Girl, you liable to get Black Lives Matter at your house like they did the older white. I'm wrong for that, but I'm serious. You can't do nothing.
No, you can't even defend yourself. You pull out a gun against mobsters that are robbing you, you're gonna go to prison.
Going to jail.
You're going to go to prison.
Like going to jail for something serious, which really they just pandering to the media. And then you don't go, you find not guilty, then everybody thinks, see, look, the system is flawed. It's because they're white. Because people don't know the law.
Oh my goodness.
It's so evil and divisive, it just burns my bridges because I know how it feels just because I used to be like that. I just believe what I heard, but I never was that deep into it. But I'd be like, man, that's crazy. And I go back.
But I don't know why we didn't even ask ourselves this. Like, let's just say they were right. Let's just say that America was so toxic and it was racist and it was implosive to people who were trying to get ahead that they were not getting anywhere. If they were in the middle class or lower, they're not going to go anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their idea is to change the structure of the country.
That's the main thing.
Packing the court, by increasing social welfare, by submerging ideology in the school system, basically doing everything they're doing now just on steroids.
Marxism times, basically.
And that's supposed to make things better. Doing the same thing, more, More of the same thing. That's going to make everything better.
But nothing is new, like you said. Nothing is new under the sun. This stuff is going on in other countries that are now ran by communists. And
that's the other question we haven't asked
America
ourselves.
Is not. Yeah.
Where has it worked?
Yeah, when has it worked? And eventually you're gonna run out of other people's money. So what's the point? But the point is they want to take your wealth so they don't have